Hey, it's Tony Byrne back with another episode of the Realtor Hot Seat. Hey, this week we're here with Chad Kennedy from Keller Williams. Chad, let's just start by you telling Facebook land about your business and you and so on and so forth.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. I've been licensed for about 2 years now. Like Tony said, I hang my license at Keller Williams. I operate under the name the Freedom Real Estate Group at Keller Williams on my license, so to see my signs around town with that. I focus on helping buyers and sellers throughout the entire Spokane area purchase and sell real estate.
And Freedom Real Estate, it has a purpose kind of behind it with how you've kind of set up your business, correct?
It does, yeah. I tend to do 60% of my business, at least every year, is helping veterans either buy or sell real estate. A lot of that is relocation with new veterans coming into the area, active duty members at Fairchild Air Force Base, or helping people sell their homes so they can move on to their next duty station.
And one of the reasons I'm assuming is because you're a veteran yourself, and being able to help navigate that process is one of the reasons you choose to kind of help.
Yeah, I think it comes from coming from contribution on my end of things. It's kind of selfish. I like working with veterans because I get along with them. But being through multiple military moves myself, my wife's an active duty member of the military, so I understand what they're going through and what it takes to go through that transition. So I just like being there to help and take care of any obstacles before they arise.
I think it's important that as a veteran, you have to have an advocate on both sides of the transaction, and I think it's awesome what you do for them. Is there a neighborhood or a kind of an area of Spokane that you focus on?
No, not really. I don't think you can be productive in the Spokane market if you only focus on one neighborhood currently. With technology, the way things are, people can search for homes all the way across the country, so why would you pigeonhole yourself to one neighborhood is kind of where it's at. And with technology, with Keller Williams, we have the Kelle App, so I can stand in any neighborhood in Spokane and ask the app, which is run off of artificial intelligence, to give me a snapshot of the neighborhood, and I can find the average sold price of homes in the last 6 months. I can find average price per square foot, everything I need to be competitive helping my clients write an offer. So I don't find it important to focus on just one neighborhood in Spokane.
I think technology has absolutely changed it for the buyers in terms of their ability to search. But I also think that with that ability, you become as a real estate agent, become more valuable to them. Can you kind of talk to that? Like why, obviously, I don't think as a buyer, I may not, because I have Zillow, I don't need you, right? Or
right.
Whatever. Why is it still important to have that?
Well, I think Zillow is great for all the properties are on Zillow, for the most part, and you can get a broad spectrum of what's going on there, but you're not necessarily finding out what those homes sold for, what they went under contract for, and things like that. So that's where you need a professional, whether it's myself or any other realtor in Spokane, to actually help you through the process and say, it's kind of like listing your home yourself. And the way the market was in Spokane, I have no doubt that people that wanted to do for sale by owner could sell their home themselves. I just know that I could sell it for more money than they could, knowing what to give up during negotiations, if anything, where things are going out in the market, and being able to bring a broad spectrum of buyers to their house versus that one person that drove by and saw the sign.
Yeah, and then I think that's huge as a seller, having you negotiate and manipulate kind of the process to favor the seller. As a buyer, Zillow is not super accurate, right? Like it's not up to the minute when you search a home.
No, it's not. You're not getting, it takes a little while for it to upload. They're getting faster. It used to be 48 hours. Now you're seeing stuff within 24 hours, usually to upload for what's coming on the market. But not necessarily knowing what's going on in that neighborhood, what it's actually listed at, or not being able to see the agent remarks. So, and when it's in the multiple listing service, you have the public remarks that everybody sees on Zillow. But the agent remarks will talk about showing times, scheduling, when they're reviewing offers, if they're going to hold out for a weekend and review on Monday. So it gives you a better idea of what's going on in the market, and having somebody that actually goes out and looks at properties every day go through that house with you is better than just looking at pictures online. For sure.
Awesome. So tell us what rumor you kind of hear around Spokane that needs to be cleared up about the real estate market.
I've been hearing a lot lately that homes aren't affordable in Spokane, and yes, we saw a time this spring and summer where we were going into multiple offer situations on listings. Homes were selling for above list price, but I think if we step back and look at it from broad spectrum that we'll actually see home prices in Spokane for a major city with a job market like we have compared to other places in the Northwest. Our homes are actually still really affordable. It's still a great place to live.
Yeah, it's obviously a matter of perspective, right? If you live in Seattle, we're cheap, and
Absolutely.
and home prices have gone up, and rates have gone up, and those kind of things. But it's also one of the things I think is important is creativity on your end and on our end with lending in terms of like, yeah, they're a little bit more expensive, and it's a little bit more competitive to get into them. But how do we get an offer accepted on the right
Absolutely.
home? And it may be going into, you buy a little bit less expensive home and you use a renovation loan, or you just need to be creative, I think, to make work with around the
There's lots of
affordability.
options out there, and price isn't always the most important thing to the seller either. To despise popular belief, it could be the fact that if closing time, if you're willing to close faster, wait a little bit longer so they can get their situation along. We never know what's necessarily going on their end of things, so doing a little bit of your buyer's agent doing a little bit of research with the listing agent to figure out what would best suit that seller might get your offer accepted, less one that's more expensive. So.
Let's talk about a niche that you kind of work with, the VA buyer. What are some of the problems with them using their VA benefits or getting started using them, and how have you kind of overcome those with them?
I think a lot of it comes down to education on that aspect. I think whether they're serving active duty or National Guard, reserves, whatever the case may be, when you get out, you know that you have the VA loan available, but there's not a lot of education around what that actually entails. So it's a zero down option, but you don't know what it takes to get that done. And then a lot of people think they can only use it one time versus using it multiple times throughout their life. So they save it up like, I'm going to wait until I get out, rather than stay on base housing or live in an apartment during their time at active duty. They, instead of owning a house and building equity with the money that they're getting paid to live in town, they're just renting and kind of wasting a 4-year opportunity or 6-year opportunity to actually make money on an investment.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I think that if I can only use something once that really benefits me, I'm going to wait until whether the quote unquote market's better or it suits me better, where those 4 years you can make a significant amount of money when you sell your property around when that 4 years is up.
Absolutely.
So I always ask this, tell Facebook land about a place that you've enjoyed going to, whether it's to eat or happy hour or whatever it is lately.
Lately, it's been the 1898 Public House at the Kalispell Golf Course. They've got an amazing happy hour. I don't drink. My wife says the drinks are good, but the appetizers are to die for. So enjoy that. And we've also done their brunch on Sunday. They do a Bloody Mary bar, if you're into that, which looks really good. But yeah.
What's the appetizer you typically get when you go there?
I like the brisket slider sandwich. Is probably the best one.
Perfect.
That I found. So.
Yeah,
And the pretzel braid. They have a pretzel braid with a beer cheese. That's really good too.
Sounds delicious. Hey, thanks for joining us. Let's end by telling the people how they can get in touch with you, whether it's online or in person or whatever.
Absolutely, yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Freedom Real Estate Group, or on Facebook under Freedom Real Estate Group at Keller Williams Realty Spokane.
Awesome.